Incredibly, they all survived those crashes, although how you characterize surviving is unique to each individual. One crash that was not included there, Bobby Allison in 1988. Tom Rinaldi tells the story of how a split second changed a family for life.
For the better part of 2 NASCAR decades, the blur of Bobby Allison slowed only for victory lane. From the mid-60s to late 80s, he won 84 Winston Cup races, none bigger than his final win, the '88 Daytona 500, where his son Davey finished second.
What a tremendous family performance.
Look at Bobby waving to Davey.
But just 4 months later, Allison took the first turn into tragedy.
Trouble in turn 2. Bobby Allison spins around backwards. The car coming sliding across the track into the outside wall. And Allison is T-boned in the driver's side door by Giacomo Giacomo. A 2-car crash in turn 2.
The minute they said T-bone accident, we had always heard nobody survives a T-bone accident.
Bobby Allison is still in his automobile. They are trying to pull some metal away from the driver's side door. That's where he took the impact.
Suffering from severe head trauma and swelling on the brain, Allison was in critical condition and airlifted to Lehigh Valley Hospital, 30 miles away.
He really didn't look so good. He looked like he was going down the tubes. He had blood coming from both ears, the nose.
I told him, I said, well, I don't want him to be a vegetable, and I know he doesn't want to be a vegetable. And he said, I'll give you your husband back.
If they would have just left me alone for 90 more seconds, Dr. Stephen tells me I would have been dead.
After 6 weeks in and out of consciousness, Allison awakened with a broken body, a mind that had slowed, and a life he couldn't completely remember.
I hurt, didn't know where I was, didn't know what year it was.
It was like he had a dimmer switch and it was on low and he wasn't never going to put it back up on bright.
I felt like, you know, my life was over. What can I do? What could I ever do again? You know, and it's unfair for them not to have let me die.
Bobby Allison, you know, died in that car in '88, and he'll tell you that today. That's Bobby Allison, the race car driver. Bobby Allison, the dad, did not die in that car that day.
Over the next 4 years, Allison poured himself into racing again, not as a driver himself, but through his 2 sons. In August of 1992, Allison and his youngest son, Clifford, were together for a Busch Series practice run in Michigan.
I'm there at the racetrack with him, and he's out there running. He's running pretty good. And we're adjusting on the car, and he says to me, Dad, we're gonna get him. This thing is really good. We're gonna get him. Okay. Went out the pit road, didn't come back.
When his car hit the wall coming off Turn 4 at Michigan International Speedway, Clifford Allison died instantly. He was 27 years old.
He put his head on my shoulder and started crying, and he just said, I wish I would have done more for him.
11 months later, Bobby Allison would bury his other son. Davey Allison, a rising star and Daytona 500 winner the previous season, was also following his father's legacy. In July 1993, he was flying his helicopter to Talladega to see friends Neil and David Bonnet test a car.
The phone rang, and it was Neil Bonnet. And Neil was beside himself. He said, I should have helped. I should have been able to do better. I should have been able to help. And finally, somebody took the phone from him and said, Bobby, Davey just crashed his helicopter.
Davey Allison died the next day. He was 32. As a father, Bobby Allison had lost both his sons in less than a year. The grief crushing and nearly complete.
How can something this bad happen again? It was just such an incredible loss to have lost both of them in 11 months.
I couldn't see how he could get up out of his bed every day. You know, and I know he struggled with that a lot.
I did have all kinds of feelings of despair and self-destruction and all kinds of things like that. But they were part of everything. You know, my own injury and my own pain that I lived in constantly, and the pain of going through these other tragedies.
In the last 20 years, Bobby Allison has recovered physically, but his mind and heart have never fully healed. And the pursuit of speed has been replaced by the slow march of perseverance.
What I have to do from here is I have to do the best I can to carry on. Maybe someday I'll feel like I do actually achieve something or accomplish something. You know, for 19 years, I feel like I've accomplished very little.
How good was Bobby Allison? As Tom told us, 84 career wins, which is tied with Darrell Waltrip for the third most in series history. Only King Richard and the Silver Fox have more. Among Allison's 84 wins, 3 at the Daytona 500.